Alright guys, Miss Metcalf here again. By the way, if you hear any weird noises in the background, it's probably June snoring or choking or playing or I don't know what. Anyways, in this video we're going to be talking about finding slope and y-intercept from a graph. We're still dealing with those linear relationships, okay? On the previous, if you've been watching them in order, so to speak, the way I've been putting them out, the previous one we talked about how to find slope and y-intercept from a table of points. So now we're going to look at, instead of if the points are in a table, what if the points are plotted on a graph? And how are we going to be able to find the slope and y-intercept? So this is just a recap of what we talked about again on the first video that referred to the tables. Okay, linear relationships, we call them that because they're things that have a constant rate of change, that's slope. Each time it increases or decreases by the same amount over and over again. Okay, the constant rate of change is what causes that straight line. If it didn't change the same way each time, then it wouldn't make a straight line. It'd be all over the place. Okay, linear relationships can be positive, they can be negative, so they can increase, they can decrease, they can have a zero slope, they can be undefined, and you'll learn about those more in Algebra 1. Okay, but mostly we focus on positive and negative in 8th grade math. Linear relationships have that special point that we'd identify as the beginning, and we talked about that in the tables as the y-intercept. The beginning of a situation is truly like 0. When x is 0, what is the y value? That's that y-intercept. Okay, and we're going to be able to see that on the graph. The whole point of all of this, why do we have to figure out the slope and the y-intercept? Well, that's how we identify our lines. If I just have a graph with 5 lines on it, it would take a lot of time for someone to actually go and analyze that. Whereas if somebody like us went ahead and figured out the slope and the y-intercept, we could name it for them and kind of give that information, and it would make it easier for people to analyze the graph and get the point across. So that's kind of why we do it. It helps us name, identify, and see what's happening for a situation. So let's look at a first example of a graph. Sorry, the images are a little pixelated because I enlarged them for us, but you'll notice we have a 4-quadrant graph. It's a little cut off, but it is a 4-quadrant graph, and we have a straight line on it. So that means we have a linear relationship. We want to know our slope, and then eventually we'll talk about our y-intercept. So you'll notice maybe a little things, some things that are a little different from the last one. So slope, yes, in a table, we looked at the change in the y values, the change in the x values. And we're still going to be looking at that. And these are equal. This is just another way of saying that. In math, if you haven't noticed, we don't like writing words. We use symbols a lot. And so this symbol, this delta symbol, stands for change. So change in the y values compared, that's why it's a rate, it's a comparison between the change in y to the change in x. Okay, now that's great and all, but on a graph, change in y, some kids are like, wait, I don't see the y values on there. I'm not quite sure what you mean. Well, another way to look at change in y is rise, meaning if you think about it, here's your y-axis. If any change is occurring on this axis, it has to go up, right, or down. There's no other direction you can move on this axis. So that's why we nickname that our rise. And then the change in x we use as our run, because our x-axis goes left to right, and so those are the only ways we can move. And so that's the only change we can identify, whether it went to the negative left or whether it went positive to the right. Okay, and that's kind of like running left and right. Okay, so what do we mean by counting this rise and run? Some students are like, where do I count? What do you mean? I still don't get it. Well, you just need 2 points. You need 2 points that are anywhere on your line. Now, I always tell my kids you got to pick good points. What I mean by good points are this is not a good point. This is not a good point because I don't know exactly the numbers for this. It would be hard. I know it's at x of 1, and then it's at like, what, 1, 2, 3, 3.5. You don't want to use something like that. You want something that goes exactly where an x and y line meet, and you know the exact number that that's sitting on, so to speak. So we're going to use these 2 points that they outlined for us, okay? And we want to figure out, the whole point is figuring out the change that occurred, right? That constant rate of change, that's what slope is. So I want to know how it changed from this point down here to get to this one. And on a graph, you can't just say, oh, well, it went like this. Well, yeah, but we need to move along our grid lines here. So for me to get from this one and move to this one, first, I would consider going up, right? And I would only go up this far, because if I go up further, well, now I've passed where this other point's going to be. So our rise, essentially, would be 2 then. I go up 1, 2 units, okay? And so that's what we would put as our numerator in our fraction, the change in y, the rise. And then from here to get to that point still, I have to go this way. And that's my run. And I'd have to go 1, 2, 3, 4 units. And that's to the right, so that's positive. Up was positive, right was positive. So we have 2 over 4. And of course, if you simplify that, that means we have 1/2. Okay, so our slope here is then 1/2. We know it's positive, it's increasing, but it's increasing at a kind of slow rate, right? Half of a dollar, maybe, if you want to think about it that way. Half of a dollar a minute, or half of a dollar an hour. If you're a business, that's really not a huge increase, but it's still positive. It's an increase, right? It's the change that's happening each time. So that would be our slope. Now, what about the y-intercept? Well, we said it's when x is 0. What's the y value? Well, on a graph, if x is 0, let's look at the x-axis. Where is x 0? Well, it would be right here, because we know that our origin is where the x and the y meet. And so this is 0 for y. If I go up, that's now 1, 2. If I go down, that's -1. And then if I go to the right, this is 0 for x, because this becomes 1, and then here's negative. So here's 0 for x. So the point is, if the point for the graph has to have an x of 0, that means the point has to sit somewhere on this y-axis. That's why we call it the y-intercept. So we just need to locate the y-axis and find where the line crosses it, and there it is. Okay, it crosses right here, and that's at positive 1, 2, 3. So that means our y-intercept is a positive 3. All right, and that's what we need to figure out, our slope and our y-intercept. So let's look at the next example. Here we have another graph. Now, actually, I want to go back. Notice this one. Notice this one has a positive slope, and notice it's facing to the right. Looks like it's increasing, going towards the positive direction. You're going uphill, you're increasing. So that's what a positive looks like. You should be able to look at a graph and say, oh, it's facing right. It looks like it's increasing. My answer for slope better be a positive number. If I get a negative number, I did something wrong, wrote the wrong integer value, something happened. And so now look at this one. It's opposite. Okay, notice this one, it looks like it's facing left, which is negative on a graph, right? Left, that's where our negative side gets to on a number line. And then it also, you can think of it as like going downhill. So I bet this one's going to be a negative slope. So let's see what happens. So again, we're going to figure out our rise over run. What do? I pick 2 points. So here they've already given us 2 points that we can use. I think we can use some closer together ones though. So let's see. Notice I'm going up 2 here. So why am I doing that? Well, yes, I could travel all the way up here and then all the way here, but maybe there's a closer point to this one. Maybe I can figure out a closer, smaller amount of change. Okay, so that rise was 2. And now let's see how far we're going to run. We need to find a good point. Oh, well, yeah, because this one's a good point right here. And now we had to run to the left 2. So left is negative. So that means our run is a -2. So up was positive for the rise. So that was +2. Run left, that's negative. So +2 divided by -2. In other words, we could simplify that to 1 over -1. It's the same as -1. So yes, we got a negative slope. By the way, guys, we could have actually used this point right here. The closer together your points are that you use, the less you'll have to simplify. But overall, you're still going to get the same answer because they're all on the same line. And if they're on the line, then that means they have that same slope, that same constant rate of change. So they can be far apart, they can be close together. You just need to pick good points and do it very carefully. So let's identify our y-intercept. Again, when x is 0, what's the y value? So if x is 0, I'm here somewhere. Got to figure out where my straight line crosses this y-axis. Okay, so where is it on the y-axis? It's right here. Right down here. Okay, that's where my line crosses the y-axis. Right there. And that's at, got to count from 0, -1, -2, -3. So our y-intercept is -3. So not only was it a negative slope, but it also has a negative y-intercept. Okay, that just means it's lower on the graph. Okay, they already, had a low beginning there. All right, one more example, I think. So here's another graph. Let's look at rise over run. Notice again, I'm not going all the way up to that other one. There's a closer point. I can't stop here though because this is not a good point. I don't know exactly where that is. It's in between our boxes here, right? I can't identify that. So if I'm going to go up only 2, must mean I'm headed this way. There's a good point. Okay, but up 2, that's positive for our rise. Now we run, and notice we had to run left 1, so that's -1. So a positive 2 divided by a -1 is a -2. Hope y'all are laughing at my crooked lines, but that's kind of mean. I tried my best. It was really hard to do it on my Mac. So anyways, -2 is the slope. Makes sense. It's facing negative. Notice how much steeper this one is though. The one before it was a little more closer to being flat because it wasn't as high of a negative value, right? It was just -1. This one's -2, so it's a little bit steeper, okay? Going downhill a little bit quicker, in other words. So y-intercept. When x is 0, what's the y value? So here's x of 0, so that means I'm looking somewhere on that y-axis. So let's find it. Where does my line touch the y? Here it is. Yep. So that's a +1, 2. So you can have a negative slope, but a positive y-intercept. Okay, that just means it's up higher on the graph rather than being down here. Okay, but that makes all the difference. That tells us a lot. Okay, it started up here, it was starting in the positive, and it's decreasing from then on. All right, well, I hope this helped remind you guys, sorry, about how to identify, slope and y-intercept from a graph. And if you have questions, let your teacher or me know. Have a great day.